All right, a very good after morning, noon thing. I want to welcome everybody to, what did I call this class? I called this class, What's the Cloud? Featuring Google Photos. I've kind of combined two classes together, and a very interesting mishmash, I believe is the word you would use, very interesting mix of classes together, because here's the thing, I usually get to a point in my cloud class where I say, I give up with this, just use Google Photos. So what we're going to do is we're going to get to the point in the cloud class, yeah? That's okay. Oh, I'm going to follow my laces. I got it. But we're going to go ahead and we are going to get started today by talking about the cloud, and then we're going to go into Google Photos. I'm going to tie my shoe real quick. Question for you, though. Do any of you know what the cloud is? Storage, yeah. What's the cloud?
Yeah, remote storage.
Remote storage, okay. Yeah, any other thoughts? Backup, syncing, doing different things like that. I think here's the most important thing. Do you know who the biggest cloud provider in the world is? Anybody have any idea who the biggest cloud provider in the world is? Yep. The correct answer is Amazon. Amazon makes no money shipping things to your door in 2 days. They lose money shipping things to your door in 2 days, but they run the biggest cloud services in the world. I'll give you an example. I was watching an Amazon video last night. I'm watching an Amazon video up in the iLounge, and we're going to get into this very in-depth tomorrow, and there's someone trying to check their AOL mail. I'm streaming that Amazon video in full HD. It looks absolutely beautiful, and the person trying to get their AOL mail was going, the internet on the ship is slow. No, it's not. The thing is, whatever you connect, wherever, only as strong as the cloud you are connecting to. There are about 5 big companies in the cloud. You've got Google, you've got Amazon, you've got Apple, you've got Netflix, and you got Facebook, pretty much. Those are the only big companies that no matter how fast the internet you have is, they will always be faster than that internet, if that makes sense. That's the whole idea. This stage is a little bit sticky. That's what's going on. I'm going to stay off of it. It's a little bit faster than what's going on there. But the whole idea of the cloud is storage, backup, all those different things like that. But I want to give you an interesting demo of the cloud. Here's a question. Do any of you know how fast your iPhone or your iPad or your Android phone is? How many gigahertz it has? How much RAM it has in it? Anything like that? The answer is not 16, 32, 64, 128. That's the amount of storage. But you remember when you used to buy a computer, you used to care how many gigahertz it was, how many megahertz it was, how fast it worked, and everything like that? We've probably all heard that before. So for many, many years, I tried to figure out a way to explain to a group of people what the cloud was, and then something came across me. Now, sometimes when I start this class, people go up to me and they go, is that a candy bar in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? It's a candy bar in my pocket. But here's a really cool concept of the cloud. We're going to get into Google Photos in a bit, but a really cool concept of the cloud. You'll see this guy right here. What is written on the back of that little thing right there? We have a barcode. UPC, Universal Product Code. But here's the question. What does that barcode tell us about that product? Any thoughts?
Everything.
Price? Nope. Nutrition? Nope. Inventory? Sort of.
ID.
When I scan this barcode, all it tells me is 037-466-019-314. That is it. Because if you buy this in the shops on board, or if you buy this in Walmart, if you buy it in Target, you buy it in Best Buy, you buy it in Costco, the price on this varies. We agree with that. The price on this varies. This little thing right here, this barcode, is used by the cloud to make sense of what's going on. So I'm going to give you an example. I could scan this if I wanted to. I don't know if I can buy these on Amazon, but I can open up the Amazon app, and I can scan this barcode and see if I can buy these Lindt truffles in bulk. There we go. Oh, look. Pack of 12. $39.92. I found these in our cruise shop for $1.50. I bought out the entire stock of them because I knew they had to be marked incorrectly. So for some reason I have 37 bars of Lindt truffles still sitting in my cabin. If anybody would like to buy one, what's the unit price? Like $4 each. I'll make a simple $2.50 profit. But you see, I scanned that with the Amazon app and I figured out what it was. Now imagine if I were to go ahead and I were to scan it with a different app. So I figured out what it was. Now the store, when they scan it, they use this piece of information to figure out what it costs. That makes sense, right? They use it to figure out what it costs. When I scanned it, I figured out what it was, but someone said nutrition. What if I wanted to figure out how many calories it had in it? So I have an application called Lose It that will figure out how many calories are in this chocolate bar. So all I have to do is take that same barcode, scan it, and it will figure out exactly what is inside of that chocolate bar. Now, let's be completely honest. It says 6 pieces of chocolate. There are about, I think, 18 pieces of chocolate in there. Can you eat just 6, or once you open the box, you're gone? It's gone. There's 18 pieces of chocolate. It's actually 700 calories to eat all the chocolate in this little box. And I like to do it right after I finish in the gym. It's really bad. But here's the concept. They used this same barcode to sell me something in the store. I used that same barcode to buy it on Amazon if I wanted to buy more. And I used the same barcode to figure out the number of calories. All of that was made possible by the cloud. It was all made possible by cloud. What the cloud is the cloud is other people's computers. So when you have your iPhone or you have your iPad, you're just using the power of the iPhone or the iPad. But when you have the cloud, you're using the power of other people's computers. Now I'm going to give you an example of cloud that you've probably used before. You've maybe not used the barcode thing before, but I'm sure we've all tried to use the Siri. You know the Siri. I call it the Siri because that's what my mom calls it. We've all tried to use the Siri before. Who's going back somewhere where it might be cold on Sunday? Where are we going? New York?
Yeah.
Alaska's always cold. Don't worry about that. I know. But if I ask Siri a question and I say, what's the weather in New York City on Sunday?
Here's the weather for New York on Sunday.
And it says Sunday it's going to be a high of 60 and a low of 39. On Sunday I'll be headed back out to the Caribbean Sea where it's going to be a low of about 75 and a high of about 90. So yeah, just for fun. But here's the cool thing. Do any of you know what just happened there? Do any of you have any idea what just happened when I asked Siri a question? I think this is very, very interesting. So I asked Siri a question. Did my phone understand what I just asked?
This time, yeah.
You think it did, but my phone had nothing to do with it. All my phone did was recorded my voice. Now you saw it was happening in nearly real time. All my phone did was recorded my voice. It sent my voice over to this computer right here, which then is also sharing it to the screen, went up to that little router right there on the wall, went up from that little router up to Deck 6, up behind Deck 6 where our network operations center is, back up from Deck 6 with a fiber cable to some satellites, back up to the satellites on Deck 6, so up to my satellite which is on Deck 16, then up into space, back down to Melbourne, Florida, and to where Apple's headquarters of the iCloud is. Any thoughts? Where it is? It's in the United States. It's in the place in the United States least likely to have a non-predicted natural disaster. Nope, the Research Triangle in North Carolina. In Charlotte, North Carolina. That is the least likely place to have an unpredicted natural disaster, as well as the iCloud is actually run fully by solar power. That's why it doesn't work at night. No, it's run fully by solar power, and at night they actually use Tesla batteries. So they use Tesla batteries to power that data center. And to give you a little idea, so they use Tesla batteries to power that data center, and then it went all the way back in fractional seconds. Just give me another location. I'll do something a little weirder.
Vegas.
Vegas. Let me stop it. Start. What's the weather in Las Vegas on Sunday?
It should be nice in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday. Up to 80 degrees and sunny.
Now it just did that entire path. On the same Wi-Fi connection that's on the ship for all of you, and some of you are sitting around with your AOL or your Yahoo or your Hotmail email and you're saying it's not loading. That's because those companies no longer exist. I know you think they do. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in a lot more depth, because here's the thing. When you're dealing with an email provider, you have 3 choices nowadays in email providers. The first one is Gmail. If you don't want Gmail, what's your second choice of provider? Gmail. And if you really don't want Gmail, what's your third choice of provider? Gmail. Good. Okay. So we understand. I will explain why on another day. But I think the important thing to understand is, okay, the internet and the cloud is as fast as the service you're connecting to. So believe it or not, Apple actually uses Amazon servers for a lot of these things, a lot of Siri and a lot of different things. You saw how quick that was. That took fractional seconds for me to do my voice and to do that there. So the whole idea of the cloud is there's big computers that have far more processing power and far more storage than we have on this entire ship. That is just in a single computer, and it does everything for you. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about the iCloud and the phone specifically, and then we're going to move on to Google Photos. But I want to talk about something that happens every single cruise, without fail, every single cruise. Someone comes to me with their iPhone, their iPad, their Android phone, puts it in my hand and says, "This doesn't work." I look at them, I go, "On the internet, to make phone calls, to do it." They go, "No, it won't even turn on." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Did you charge it?" "Yeah." "Did you charge it?" "No." I asked the question, but then it always leads to, "I got it wet." Always leads to, "I get it wet." And then my follow-up questions are, what type of water? I go, because it's actually important, whether it's seawater, because it's got salt in it, whether it's pool water, because it's got chlorine, whether it's hot tub water, because of the temperature, can actually melt the seals on the phones. And you know what it always is? Toilet water. Now, it's not usually the giant iPhones I see fall in the toilet, because it's really hard to get an iPhone 7 Plus between your legs, but it is generally toilet water. And this has happened to me for many years. I've been holding the phone, and I'm just like, this is disgusting. What? You don't hand someone a phone and then tell them it's been in the toilet. But then I came up with a response. This is a true story. I told someone, I came up with this on the fly. I said, "Unfortunately, I can't help you unless I know what type of water is in the toilet, and it's different across the entire ship, so I need you to taste the water from the toilet and get back to me and tell me what type of water is in the toilet." And believe it or not, it's a little bit salty. They don't really dechlorinate the toilet water as much as desalinate the toilet water as much as you would think. But if you drop your phone in the toilet, please taste it. But someone tasted it before. But here's the thing to understand: if you have a good cloud, it should not matter if you drop your phone or you drop your tablet in the toilet. If you have a good cloud. Now, here's the thing: how many of you in this room think you have a good cloud backup of your device? Does anybody in this room feel safe? I'm not going to do it. If I were to take your device right now, smash it with a sledgehammer, replace it with a brand new device, well, you have the newest device, but let's say if I were to replace it with a brand new higher capacity, do you have the 256 gig iPhone, or you only have the 128? If I were to take your 128, smash it with a sledgehammer, I'm not going to do it. No. You feel safe that all of your pictures, everything will be backed up? You say absolutely. What are you using as your cloud backup? Okay, I'm going to poke a lot of holes in that right now. Okay? He says absolutely. He says iCloud. How many of us are Apple people? I'm going to cover the Android people as well, but okay, a lot of us are Apple people. One of the absolute worst ways to back up your information is iCloud. Now, you're hearing this from an Apple guy. I love Apple hardware. I love iPhones. I love MacBook Pros. I love all of that, but here's the thing that's very interesting. Now, you have iCloud. Are you paying for extra storage in your iCloud and all those different things like that? Apple, as a company, makes money when you buy their products. Does that make sense? You go out and you buy an iPhone, they make money when you buy their products. Google, as a company, on the other hand, makes money when you use their product, meaning you use a Google search, you use different things like that. iCloud is a great thing in concept, but there are a lot of holes in iCloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you iCloud really quick, the way iCloud backs up, what iCloud backs up, and then I'm going to show you how to fill the shortcomings of iCloud with Google Photos, because here's what I can tell you. Between when I left the iLounge at about 11:45 and when I came here right now, I went and had lunch. I took a picture of my lunch. I took a picture. Well, I'll show you the picture. Why not? I took a picture of this beautiful cake. So they have this nice, big, beautiful cake down in the crew mess. And no one had cut it yet, so you know what I had to do. Which piece do you think I took? Corner. Of course I took the corner. Oh, wait, where's the picture? Come on, corner picture. My screen is lagging a little bit. Come on, corner picture. Of course I took the corner. Come on, corner picture. I have a picture on my screen of the corner. I took it off. I'm going to put it back up. But here's the thing. I can guarantee if you did the same thing, you would not have those pictures backed up in iCloud. Here's why. I'm going to get it back up on the screen. To back up something in iCloud, your device must be plugged into power, connected to Wi-Fi, and you need to have the screen off, which is an interesting variable. So what I want to talk about now, let me go ahead and get this behaving, because I've cursed the iCloud, so my computer has just said, no thank you, I don't want to play with you anymore. Because I cursed the iCloud. I'll give it just a second. So what I want to show you is I want to show you what I use iCloud for. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you, that was my Windows computer doing something weird, and I'm going to show you what I don't use iCloud for. Now, when we're talking about iCloud, one of the things that's important about iCloud, do you all know how much storage you get in iCloud for free? 5 gigs. In Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, the first 3 ports of this cruise, do you know how many gigs of photos and videos you probably took? More than 5 gigs just in the first leg of this cruise. Now, some of you are paying 99 cents a month, or $2, or $4, or different amounts. Hold on, I need to show you the cake first. There's the cake. That's my corner piece. And then just to show you what the cake looked like after, wait. There's the cake after I removed the corner piece. But what I have is I know for a fact, if you were to take my phone now, I wouldn't want you to take my phone and destroy it because I have a 256 gig iPhone 7 Plus, but that's another story whatsoever. But if you were to take my phone and destroy it, I know that those pictures are already backed up. I don't think anybody else in this room, can make that claim, can you? The pictures you just took, if you were to take a picture of me right now, could you make that claim? Probably not. So I know those pictures are backed up. Now the thing is, iCloud, as we were saying, only gives you 5 gigs of storage space for free. Those 5 gigs should not be used for your photos and your video. I'm going to tell you what those 5 gigs should be used for, and then I'm going to show you how to back up your photos and videos with Google Photos. Does that make sense? I want to tell you what those 5 gigs should be used for. Now, you know, if you get a new Apple device, you buy a new iPad, you buy a new iPhone, and you sign in with your iCloud account, guess what? All of your contacts come over. All of your calendars come over. All of your apps and things like that start coming over. So what you'll see is if I go into the iCloud setting, I've got contacts, calendars, reminders, Safari, home, notes. All of this is going to synchronize across all of my devices. So it's going to be all the same. So if I have bookmarks in Safari, they'll be on my iPhone, they'll be on my iPad, they'll be on my Mac. Now, how many of you still have Windows computers? Oh, God. Sorry. Now, here's the cool thing. Apple has a program called the iCloud Control Panel for Windows. It is completely free. You install it on your Windows computer. Again, it's called the iCloud Control Panel for Windows. You install it on your Windows computer, and once you've installed it on your Windows computer, all this stuff's going to sync over to Windows as well. And it's really quite cool. You just sign in with your Apple account. But what iCloud is going to do for you, without taking very much storage, it's going to synchronize your contacts, your calendars, your notes, all of those different things. But one of the most important things I want to talk about with iCloud is something called Keychain. How many of you know and remember all of your passwords for all of your devices and everything like that? The day of the password is almost gone. But you're not going to like what replaces it. Well, you might like what replaces it. But a lot of people aren't going to like what replaces it. Very clear on Celebrity's website 6 months ago, I had to update. I know I'm talking to the wrong people right now. I know you all have devices, iPhones, iPads, Androids, different things like that. It will be impossible by June to log in on an unknown computer in an unknown location with any good email provider. The days of the password is going away. Now, believe it or not, if you try and sign into Gmail, it'll ask you for your password now, but what it'll actually ask you to do, if you try and sign into Gmail on a computer that you've never signed into Gmail on before, in a place you've never signed in before, it's going to say you need to verify it from another account. If by June companies are not asking you to do that, you should no longer be doing business with that company, because that's just the way it is. So passwords are going away very, very soon. But what works for now is there's something called Keychain that's inside of iCloud that will back up your passwords across all of your devices. So it'll back up your passwords across all of your devices. When you get home in 2 days, if you don't have Keychain on already, don't turn it on right now. When you get home in 2 days and you turn on Keychain, it's going to send you a text message to verify who you are. And then you're going to turn it on. So I turn it on my iPhone, and it's good. Then I turn it on my iPad, and my iPad is going to ask me to verify it from my iPhone. Does that make sense? So it's going to ask me to verify from my iPhone, and what it's going to do is it is going to synchronize the passwords across all of my devices. So if I go where's my passwords? It's bad to show you this, but It's going to synchronize, and I've got all my passwords across all my devices, as well as it will synchronize your Wi-Fi password. So if you signed in somewhere on Wi-Fi before on your phone, it'll work on your laptop, it'll work on your tablet, it'll also work on your watch. That's essentially, the idea is that's what it does really, really well, is transferring small bits of information across all of your devices. Something I don't use in iCloud, I want to talk about two more things in iCloud, and then we're going to go into Google Photos. Something I don't use in iCloud is I do not use backup in iCloud. I am not one that likes to bring up negative things, but I'm going to bring something up. Do you remember the thing that happened in California with the iPhone that wanted to be unlocked by the government and all those different things like that that happened about a year or so ago? Just so you know, iCloud backups are not encrypted. What that means is anybody can make a legal subpoena to get the entire contents of your phone. And it does not need to be terrorism related. If you're going through a divorce proceeding, you can make a request to Apple to have the iCloud contents of the phone taken. I do not use iCloud backup as it is not encrypted. Does that make sense? That is, so if you know anything about that thing that happened with the iPhone opening up, the guy who was involved in that attack had only 5 gigs of iCloud storage, and he didn't back up his iPhone for a while, but Apple immediately turned over his newest iCloud backups to the government, just to give you a little idea there. Yeah?
Why would you want to put all your passwords out there if it's not?
Passwords are different. Passwords are, they need that second factor. So iCloud backup is something different than the passwords. I get where you're coming from 100%. The passwords are actually stored locally on your device, just synchronized over. That is encrypted. And you can only securely store passwords, you ask a very good question, on devices that have the fingerprint reader, that are phones. So you need to have the Touch ID. It is not secure if you have a device that does not have the fingerprint reader. So does that somewhat answer your question? So the passwords are not part of the backup. The last thing I want to talk about in iCloud, then I'm going to talk about the one thing I don't use in iCloud, then we're going to go to Google Photos, is Find My Phone. Now on Android, it's called Find My Android Phone. And this is something that's taken phone thefts and has brought it to almost zero. Nobody really is dumb enough to steal phones anymore. As weird as that sounds. Usually they just get lost and someone tries to return them and can't figure out who they are. It's brought phone theft to almost zero because if you have Find My Phone enabled in your iPhone, and your iPad, and your Android phone, and someone were to go ahead and steal your phone, I really hope Lasker's I got him from the phone right away. I can't get into her phone because she has a passcode. Does everybody have a passcode on their device? Who said no? Okay, we need to set up a passcode if you don't have a passcode. Because I had someone earlier this cruise that they lost their phone, they didn't have a passcode, I was like, you should probably have a passcode. But even if I were to take her device and reset it, as long as she had Find My iPhone turned on, could I go ahead and do anything with it? No, I'd need her Apple password to be able to do that. It's the same thing with the Samsung phones and all of those like that. So it's made it almost dumb to steal phones now, and phone thefts have gone down significantly. About 5 years ago, the #1 stolen thing in New York City was iPhones. And you know what the #1 stolen thing is now? Hoverboards. They don't hover, but they still steal the hoverboards. So Find My iPhone will allow you to do that. Also, please remember, before you give your phone to someone else, say you get a new phone, you give your phone to your granddaughter or your grandson, you need to turn off Find My iPhone. But here is the big animal in the room. So we only have 5 gigs of free storage on iCloud. So inside of iCloud, inside of Photos, you can follow along, there's something called iCloud Photo Library. That is where all of your storage, all of your 5 gigs is gone. I can take everybody's contacts in this room, everybody's documents in this room, as long as they're not PowerPoints, if they're Excel or if they're Word files. Everybody's contacts in this room, everybody's documents in this room, everybody's notes in this room, put them together, and you know how many gigabytes there would be? About 1 gig, to give you an idea. That's not what takes up space. The thing that takes up more space on your device than anything else is Photos, and there's something called the iCloud Photo Library. Has anybody gotten the message that says you've run out of storage space in your iCloud? There's something called iCloud Photo Library, and what iCloud Photo Library does is it backs up all the stuff across all your devices, but you only have 5 gigs, and that's why a lot of us have bought more space. I'm going to give you some metrics so you can understand this. This is actually, any of you still use AOL or Yahoo? I'm sorry, okay, I want to give you some metrics so you can understand. iCloud, people paying for more storage space in iCloud. You know how you pay the 99 cents a month or different things like that? People paying for more storage space in iCloud, which the main reason they pay for more storage space is why? Photos and videos. People paying for more storage space in iCloud in the October, November, December quarter of last year paid about $7 billion to increase the storage on their iCloud. AOL and Yahoo as companies together are worth less than $6 billion total. Apple made $1 billion more in 3 months on people paying to upgrade their iCloud than AOL and Yahoo are worth as companies. That's just to put, I'm just trying to get some perspective in there so you can understand what's going on there. So the problem is when we opened this little Photos app years ago with iOS 8, it said, do you want to back up all of your photos and videos automatically to the iCloud? And there was a big ugly button that said, yes, please back it up. And there was a little ugly button that said skip. None of us knew that that would make us all run out of our iCloud storage. When you get home, not today, when you get home, what I want you to do is I want you to turn off the iCloud photo library. I am going to show you a full replacement right now for the iCloud photo library that is significantly better than the iCloud photo library. Does that make sense to everybody? And here's the cool thing. It is free and unlimited. It is free and unlimited. And the major difference between Apple and Google, Apple makes money when you buy the product. Google makes money as you use the product. So I'm going to show you something that you won't see anywhere else in the next 45 minutes. It's a great application. It is the only perfect 5-star application to ever be on the Apple App Store. It is called Google Photos. It has been out for about 2 years for the nerds. What I mean by that is for me and the nerds, it's been out for about 2 years. For normal people, they just started marketing it this holiday season. So this holiday season, they put an ad. Did any of you see the new Star Wars movie? They put an ad. You might have seen that ad, that Happier Holidays ad. It was before the new Star Wars movie, and they just started marketing it towards consumers. Now, before we go into it, I want to tell you very clearly, a lot of people ask me, well, what does Google get out of storing all of your photos and videos for free? What they get is they get to increase their artificial intelligence database. And they will know a lot more about different things, and that's what we're going to start talking about right now. So the name of the application is Google Photos. You might know the previous name of it, which was called Picasa. You know Picasa. So Google Photos was originally called Picasa for Web, and they did some focus group testing and things like that, and they said, Picasa for Web doesn't test as well as Google Photos, so they called it Google Photos. It is the #1 application ever on the App Store, and Apple will never tell you about it because it's not made by Apple. Now, before we go in, I want to let you know that Google Photos consists of 3 parts. I don't know. What was that? Wait, no. I don't know what I'm talking about. Google Photos consists of 4 parts, which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what's a backup, how to back up everything across your phone or your tablet, how to back up everything across your computer, and what to do once we have backed everything up. Does that make sense? Now, you all have a handout that's going to explain that. But I'm going to take my iPad and I'm going to do something very strange. Whenever I see people do this, I think they're crazy, taking pictures with their iPad, especially the giant iPad. But if I take a picture, I'm going to take 3 pictures real quickly. 1, 2, 3. Now, there is no internet connected right now or anything like that. I've just gone ahead and I have taken, well, 3 very bad pictures. This is why you don't take pictures with your iPad. But I've taken these 3, 1, 2, 3 pictures, and I have a question for you now. There'll be more sheets around after the class, not a big deal. I'll pass some more back. There we go. So I've just taken 3 pictures. Here's my question, and I have my question from my gentleman right here who backs up to iCloud. I don't mean to pick on you, but I like you. So here's a question. How many copies, there's no internet or anything like that, how many copies of those 3 pictures do I have? I have 1 copy of each picture. Do we all agree there? We all agree there. I have 1 copy of each picture. Now, if I were to take that picture and I were to put it on my iPhone as well, how many copies would I have? 2. I'm putting on my iPad, my iPhone. I have 1 copy of each picture, so I have 2 copies. If I were to then take it and put it on my MacBook, how many would I have? 3. My Windows computer. 4. But here's the loaded question, and anybody who saw the Google Photos class already, don't answer this question. How many backups do I have? Who says something other than 0? Good.
Say 1.
You say 1. Why do you say 1?
Because I have the iCloud photo library, and if I'm connected to the internet, it backs up automatically.
Okay. But it's actually not entirely true. If you're connected to the internet and you have your device plugged in and the screen is off, it backs up automatically.
It backs up right away.
You might be a fortunate lucky one, I'll be completely honest. I have used iCloud Photo Library for years, and I've never had that luck. And I've always had the newest Apple devices. Has anybody had great luck with the iCloud one before? Okay. You are an outlier. I'm happy, but I want to show you this because here's what I want to be very, very, very indicative of. And I said that there's no internet in this variable to understand. I have 4 copies on all my devices, but I have 0 backups. Now, the question is, what is the difference between a backup and a copy? A backup stays in one location. So when you're dealing with your pictures and you're dealing with things like that, a backup stays in one location. Do you see this right here? This is my backup drive. Does anybody want to call me out on this live? This is not my backup drive. How is it not my backup drive? Because it's not in the safe. It's not in my room. It's nowhere like that. If I were to go like that, drive's dead. There's nothing in the drive. Don't feel bad. If I were to go like that, drive's dead. Here's the thing to understand. Everything you want to keep a copy of, you need to keep backed up. How many of us have a desktop computer at home? How many of us have a laptop that acts as a desktop? So we all have either a desktop or a laptop that stays in one location like a desktop. If you put your files on there, guess what you have? You have a backup. If you put your files on a hard drive that's attached to there, how many backups do you then have? 2 backups. But everything you want to keep track of and everything like that, you need to have at least 3 backups up. So I want to show you a way to make a 3rd backup of anything you have. Now, there is iCloud, which has a limited amount of storage, and it's not going to do some of the cool features I'm going to show you in a couple minutes. But before Google Photos, there was a company called Flickr. You've probably all heard of Flickr. There was a company called Flickr that lets you back up all of your photos and all your videos to the internet for free. Do you know who owns Flickr? Try again. Yahoo. So, yeah, Flickr is no longer really around or relevant. So the #1 application is Google Photos. To get it, you're going to go into the App Store. What this is going to be is it's going to be a 3rd backup for your information. So to get it, you're going to go into the App Store, and I hit a button that I shouldn't have hit. Great job, Rich. Let me find the button I shouldn't have hit. And you're going to download Google Photos. On an iPhone or an iPad, to download Google Photos, you are going to need your Apple password. Does that make sense to everybody? The password you need to get. To use Google Photos, once you, so I'm just going to type in Google Photos. And I'm going to hit search. And what it's going to do is it is going to show me Google Photos. Do not click on the first thing that shows up. The App Store in iOS 10 now has ads. So you click on the first thing that shows up, you're going to wind up with Facetune. You want to click on the one that says Google Photos right there, and we are going to say open. Now when we open Google Photos for the first time, it's going to ask us some interesting questions. And it's going to tell us it does all your photos backed up safely, organized and labeled automatically, so you can find them fast from anywhere. This is what iCloud doesn't do very well. It doesn't do the artificial intelligence end very well. And you'll see in the last part I'm going to show you right here, the artificial intelligence end. You need to install the Google Photos app on all of your devices. An iPhone, an iPad, an Android phone, an Android tablet. You install it on everything, and then you're going to say, get started. And it's then going to ask you a very dumb question. Google Photos would like to have access to your photos. Can it? Obviously. Yeah, do you know why I need to ask that? Lawyers. So I'm going to say allow. That's going to allow that. Then the next thing we need to sign in with is not our Apple account, it is our Gmail account. How many of us in the room have a Gmail account? One of the major things we're going to talk about tomorrow is using Gmail. So we got a whole class tomorrow on Gmail. Even if you already have a Gmail account, trust me, you don't know what we're talking about in there. If you don't have a Gmail account, when you get to this screen in Google Photos, you can make a Gmail account. So you can make a Gmail account. Gmail is free. Free, free, free. We're going to go in and we sign in with our Gmail account. The next thing it's going to ask you is another dumb question, and then we'll get to the first non-dumb question. Do you want to back up all of your photos and videos on your device to Google Photos? Yes. Do you want to use cellular data to do that backup?
Use what?
Cellular data. The answer is no, unless, does anybody still have an unlimited data plan? Yeah? Watch them burn. Cell phone companies won't exist in 5 to 7 years. You think I'm crazy when I say that, but cell phone companies won't exist in 5 to 7 years. My sister asked me last night, she said she had to do an IRA contribution. She said, who do I invest in? And I gave her my pick. This is my long-term technology pick, is Tesla. That's my long-term tech pick. I think that Tesla's going to run a lot of stuff, and I'm not talking about just cars. I'm talking about a lot of stuff in the very near future. Tesla and Apple. But that's another story completely. But cell phone companies won't exist in 5 to 7 years. That's another story where they're going to go. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But you don't want to back up your stuff to on your cell phone network because you're going to eat through all of your data. So we're going to say, go ahead. Now, I want you to understand that this iPad is completely empty. This iPad has none of my pictures on it, nothing like that. It is completely empty. Then it's going to say, what size would you like to upload your photos and videos? And you have two choices, high quality and original. Which do you think we choose?
Original.
High quality. Here's the reason why. Original only gives you a limited amount of storage. It gives you about 30 gigs of storage for free. High quality gives you free unlimited storage of your pictures up to 16 megapixels. So unlike iCloud, where you're paying for 50 gigs, I will tell you in Google Photos for the past 2 years, I have had over 500 gigs of photos. And 500 gigs of videos. Do you know how much I've ever spent on it? $0. So the answer is high quality. High quality will store your pictures up to 16 megapixels. All the pictures you're taking with your phone are 12 megapixels. Most, the highest end phones nowadays just shoot at 12 megapixels. And video will store up to full HD. So yes, there is 4K video nowadays. It doesn't store 4K video unlimited for free, but you really don't need more than HD video right now. So the right answer between high quality and original is high quality. We're going to talk about that a bit more. When I hit continue right here, yeah?
So high quality compressed?
The high quality is compressed. The answer, I'm going to tell you what I did, is I actually uploaded a panorama, high quality. So I uploaded a panorama, high quality. I re-downloaded it. I went and I printed the panorama at Costco, in the biggest one they print in Costco, which is a 20 by 30. Have you ever seen those big poster prints they do in Costco? And it looked just as good. I put it next to one that I natively did. So the compression is second to none. Trust me, if this did not do a good job, it would not be the #1 rated app on the App Store. So it is compressed, yeah.
What if your camera has 20 megapixels?
If your camera has 20 megapixels, it's going to crunch it down to 16. So you can pay for the unlimited storage. The original storage is still about in the realm of what iCloud is. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit continue. I want you to understand this is my work iPad. I'm going to show you my iPhone in a minute. Until I hit continue right here, this iPad is empty. That makes sense. This iPad is empty. So I'm going to hit continue. And what it is going to do is it is automatically, now you see, the only thing that's on the iPad is those 4 photos that I took right there. I'm going to give it a second to clean up, and what you're going to see in a couple seconds is you will see my lunch. Now, unlike iCloud, which has to download the full quality pictures across all of the devices, because that's generally what iCloud does, this will download a preview, and when I click on the preview, it'll clear up the preview. You'll see it, that's actually pretty good. But it'll actually clear, that's actually perfect quality. You're just looking at the screen there. But I actually have that instantly. Now, I also have this for every single digital photo or video I have ever taken.
Including those in the iCloud.
Including those in the iCloud. So what it does is it reads this little application, the Photos application. So it reads the Photos application on your device. We're going to talk about how to get stuff from your computer or stuff you might have in iPhoto or in Picasa or in your My Pictures folder in a couple minutes' time. But the idea is this will synchronize everything that is on your devices, be it an iPhone, be it an iPad, be it an Android phone, across all of your devices. Across all of your devices. So you'll see I now have those pictures I took on my iPhone this morning across all the devices right there. I can scroll up, I can scroll down, I can see all the weird things I've taken pictures of. That's the thing I had in Domino's the other day. It does have all the metadata, and the metadata is going to be where stuff's going to get interesting in a couple minutes' time. So you will see not only all the metadata, but what you can do with all the metadata. But this is just a window. If you were to do this with iCloud, generally it's going to send a pretty high resolution copy to all the devices in the Photos application. And what's going to happen? We're going to run out of storage, aren't we? It's going to pop up and say, you've run out of storage. So what I want to show you, so this is my iPad. This iPad was empty until I signed in. What I'm going to show you now is my iPhone. My iPhone 7 Plus is my primary camera. So it's my primary camera. It is what I primarily use to take pictures. I created all this tech that does all this, and sometimes it's stupid with me. Okay, so this is what I primarily use to take pictures. And what you'll notice is right on my bottom bar, you see what stays there? Google Photos. So what I have today, and you'll see those 4 pictures. As soon as the pictures from my iPad upload, those will be there as well. I have the newest photos and videos at the top. I have the oldest photos and videos at the bottom. Now you notice with Apple, you have the newest ones at the bottom. You have the oldest ones at the top. And look, you see those 4 pictures that we took? They're already there. So I've just had the devices, it's just been doing it. It works instantly. Here's the other cool thing. Google Photos updated about 5 days ago. What it does is it sends a low quality picture first, so you have your picture almost instantly, and then it sends the higher quality picture second. So these are not the full quality pictures. This is pretty good. These are not the full, for an iPad picture, they're pretty good. They're not the full quality pictures, but it will send the full quality pictures eventually. Here's where this gets cool. This app can tap into your camera roll, so I have everything that's on my camera roll on here. This is everything that's inside of this little flower application that says Photos. It's everything that's inside of there and more. It's every photo and video I've ever taken that is digital. But how many of you gotten that message, not iCloud, that says your device is running out of storage? Inside of Google Photos fixed the Apple device storage problem. If I click this little bar right here, there's a button that says Free Up Space. And what it's going to do is it's going to look for items that are already backed up to Google Photos. And it says, we found 5,979 items that are already backed up to Google Photos. I'm going to read you exactly what is here. These photos and videos have already been safely backed up to your Google Photos library at the quality you've selected, which is high quality. I only say that because people email me and they say, Google Photos ran out of storage space. And I go, did you choose high quality? They go, no, I chose original. So at the Google Photos at the library you selected, you'll still be able to view them here at any time, comma, as long as you have an internet connection of some sort. Does that make sense? This is how you can clear off the space from your device. Now, iCloud does not have a mechanism this easy. Yes, it has a mechanism that says store them in a lower resolution on my device, but this stores them in full resolution, or as full resolution as it can, and it backs them up. If I hit remove, it is going to take them, it is going to put them in the trash can in what's called recently deleted. That's something, now if you're using an Android phone, it's not going to ask you for this, but you have something called recently deleted. I'm always very afraid to go, there's my burger. I'm always very afraid to go into the recently deleted folder because you never know what I'll find. Okay? Oh wow, that's me as a pirate. But once you delete, once you free up the space on the phone, you need to go to recently deleted and delete again, or else you're not going to get the space. So go select, delete all, delete 2 photos, because if you delete 5,000 photos, they're going to take 30 days to delete because that's the way the Apple devices do it. But I have all of my photos and all of my videos from across all of my devices, well, across all my mobile devices, we'll get to computers in a minute, backed up, unlimited, for free. This is what's very cool. So I got it backed up, unlimited, for free. It is going to take, to upload your photos and videos, it is going to take a long time. Let's be completely and brutally honest. It is doing some compression. Now, a company that does significantly more compression than Google is Facebook. You notice when you send a picture up to Facebook, it takes like that, and it's done. When you upload to Google Photos, again, it's going to upload a quick one, as of 5 days ago. It's going to upload a quick one just so you have a backup of your photo in the worst case scenario, and then it's going to upload the full-ish quality later on. Yeah?
Now, when you delete a photo from, let's say, your computer, will
Huh?
it delete it on your iPad and
No.
your iPhone?
No, it will ask you to actually synchronize deletes, which is getting a little more complex, but you can go ahead and you can, I think it's right here. You see it says, I deleted this item. You deleted this item on a different device. Do I also want to delete it from this device? And I can say remove photo, and then it's going to remove it. Because it sees a conflict in the iCloud photo library, if that makes sense. This is reading the iCloud photo library totally. I want you to understand though, for every 1,000 pictures you have on your device, it is going to take at least a day to upload those 1,000 pictures. It will work in the background. The device does not need to be plugged in. It should be connected to Wi-Fi, but it will work on cellular as well. I used my Google Photos on cellular this entire last summer in Europe. I'm going to make some of you shriek for a second. I used 175 gigs of roaming data because I had T-Mobile and they gave me free roaming in Europe, so I took advantage of that free roaming in Europe. 175 gigs of roaming data. If you would have done that with anybody else, you would have been fiscally bankrupt because they would have taken your house, they would have taken your car, they would have taken everything, to give you an idea. Data roaming is going away in a few years too, so that's the nice thing. Cell phone companies don't want you to know that. Discussion for tomorrow. But what we've got is we've got all of our photos, all of our videos backed up across all of our devices. Now, I am a personal fan. I will tell you, I use iPhone, I use iPad, I use Android, I use Windows, I use Mac. I like the idea of iCloud. You ever tried accessing your iCloud photos on an Android phone? You can't. You ever tried uploading something to iCloud photos on a Windows computer? It's difficult. I'm not saying you can't, but it's difficult. This works instantly across any device. I show it on an iPhone or iPad because that's the easiest thing to show it on, but it works instantly across any device. But here's the problem we have right now. We're at a quite an interesting crossroads. Okay, Rich, I've got my photos from my phone and my tablet, but I've got a bunch more pictures on my computer.
Yeah.
Correct? Or I got a bunch more pictures on a hard drive. Or I got a bunch more pictures in another cloud service, or Picasa, or my photos on Windows computers. How do I get all the stuff from my computer up into Google Photos? So I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to have to go over to my computer to show you this. So what we do is we're going to go to the website, photos.google.com, or we can just Google Photos. Photos.google.com or Google Photos. And it is going to give us the Google Photos interface. Now what you will notice is hopefully all of my pictures are going to be here. Give it a second. It's got to load up some new pictures that it didn't have last time. But hopefully all my pictures are going to be here. Here we go. Here's today. And you'll see across all of my devices, whether it's a Mac, whether this is in Google Chrome, this is in the Google Chrome web browser, all of my pictures are accessible immediately across any device that I own. So I went to photos.google.com, I logged in with my Gmail account, and I'm good there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this left-hand corner where these three little bars are right here, and I'm going to click where it says App Downloads. And there's going to be something, there's going to be a big white button here that says Download. This is called the Google Photos Uploader. You install this on your computer. Be it a Windows or a Mac, it will automatically install the appropriate software dependent on what computer you go ahead and you access it with. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign out of my Google Photos Uploader so you can see exactly how it works. So you're going to download it on a Mac computer. It's going to live in the upper right-hand corner by the time. On a Windows computer, it's going to live in the bottom right-hand corner by the time. So it's always right next to the time. I'm going to zoom in a bit. And this is what the application looks like. Google Photos automatically back up your photos and videos from your computer, including hard drives and memory cards. It's then going to ask me to sign in with my Google account. Now, something very strange I do in tomorrow's class, and people think I'm clinically insane for doing this. In the handout for tomorrow's class, I'm giving all of you my email address. People think I'm clinically insane, but here's the cool thing. Questions I get asked by you after you go home help me teach these classes better the next cruise. Does that make sense? It shows me the questions that you have that you don't have till you get home, so I can answer those questions before you get home. It works great. So I'm going to log into my Google account so you can see what's going on. I'm not going to tell you my password. I'll tell you that tomorrow, because you can't do anything with it. Okay, so now I'm signed into my Google Photos account, and it's going to ask me a very interesting question in a few seconds, which is, I think, a very perplexing question for a lot of you in this room. Where are your photos and where are your videos on your computer? Do any of you know? So I like to say that they are in what we call, I have to prepare before I say this word. They're in what we call a Fuster clock. Are you familiar with what that means? No, someone said the real one. Don't say the real one. We can't say the real one. This is a PG-rated show. Fuster clock is a good way to say it. They're in a mess. Let's just put it like this. How many of you, if you have Macs, you might keep it in iPhoto or in Photos? Am I correct in that? If you have a Windows computer, you might keep it in the My Pictures folder. You might keep it in Picasa. You might keep it in Windows Live Photo Gallery. You might keep it in all these different things. It is going to it's going to recommend where it thinks your pictures are. Pictures folder. I guarantee you, inside of your My Pictures folder, you have duplicates that have duplicates that have duplicates that have children that have duplicates. Google Photos is not going to upload duplicates. Is it going to help you clean your duplicates? Not really. But it's going to avoid uploading duplicates. So you have to tell it where your pictures are. Now, any of you have pictures on an external hard drive? You might have a USB drive. Now this is something that's very difficult to do with iCloud. You plug in the USB drive and you say, okay, I've got pictures on this USB hard drive, and it will back up all the pictures you have on that USB hard drive and all the video you have on that USB hard drive, unlimited for free. I have on my Google Photos account 535,000 pictures and videos from across the entire time pictures and videos have been digital. So I have it on my hard drive from across all of these different devices over time. The next thing is, what size do we want to back up? So you see, high quality, you'll see that you only have a specific amount of storage, which is very humorously 6 times the size of the 5 gigs that Apple gives you for free. Google gives you 30 gigs for free to back up original, but they give you unlimited. High quality gives you free unlimited storage, great visual quality, a reduced file size. So what they do, they will tell you the research on this and all that. There is a compression, but it takes up 1/4 of the amount of space while still retaining 95% of the quality. So Google does some compression there, but it's really quite good compression.
What does it mean, 15.9 gigabytes left?
For me, I'm using my Google account for other things. So I have documents and stuff stored in there. And I'm going to say start backup, and I'm going to... Yep, I'm listening. You can always change it back, yes. You can always change it back if you've selected original. And I can go to preferences, I'm staying zoomed in. And here's the cool thing. You'll see I'm signed in my Google Photos account. That's where it's backing up from. But it has another option. If I were to put in an SD card, it would automatically, if I told it to, upload all those pictures from the SD card to my Google Photos library. As well as copy them to my computer in an automated way. I'm going to talk to about 5 people in this room for about 15 seconds. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'll be back with you in 15 seconds. Trust me. You can upload RAW files to Google Photos as well, but I would recommend shooting in RAW plus JPEG because RAW files only upload in original size. Does that make sense to the 5 of you that it needed to make sense of too? Yep. Okay, cool. So you want to shoot in RAW plus JPEG and let the JPEGs upload. That is the simpler way to do it. So, what we're going to do is when we got that all set up, we're going to set it up on our phones and our tablets, we're going to set it up on our computers, and then we're going to wait. And wait. And wait. It is because in the United States and in Canada and in the UK, some of the biggest criminals in the world run our telecommunications industry. Your internet speed, your download speed is really, really quick. To download a movie or download a TV show, but your upload speed is about 1/10 of your download speed. You're not downloading these photos to Google Photos, you're uploading them. I have someone that was on the cruise a month and a half ago, and as of 2 days ago, their pictures just finished uploading. It's not a metric of Google Photos, it's a metric of your home internet provider or your cellular provider, just to give you a little idea there. So once that happens, what you're going to be able to do is from any device, I'm going to show you from my computer now, but from any device you'll be able to go to either the Google Photos app or photos.google.com, and you will see your entire photo library. Now, if you had to describe Google to an alien race in one word what Google does, what is that word? Google. Google runs a blank engine, search engine. So here's what's cool. How many of you don't have your photos in what we call a Fuster clock? And your photos are nice and organized, and you have folders, and you have years, and you have everything. We got that? No. Google doesn't care. Here's the thing. It is all done with search, and it uses, someone said the M word. Who said metadata over here before? You said metadata. Google uses your metadata to sort out what's going on. Someone name me a country that this ship goes to. Don't do Caribbean. Let's go for Europe. Turkey. Okay. That's an interesting one. This ship doesn't go to Turkey, but I'm sure I've been to Turkey. You spell it like the animal, right? But I can type in Turkey, and I think I've been to Istanbul, but I'm not sure if it's going to bring up Turkey or it's going to bring up turkeys. So I can type in Turkey, and in a few seconds' time, if things want to be... There we go. Here comes Turkey. Well, that's a picture of... But no, hold on. This is me in Turkey getting ice cream. Look how fat I used to be. My God. This is me in Turkey getting ice cream. So I can go in, and it actually identified with the metadata what was Turkey. So I can go in and I can see that oh, it's not. It's just a picture. I thought it was a video. It's just a picture. Oh, no. It's a video. There we go. There was me in Turkey getting ice cream. You see there's the Turkish guy. If you've ever been in Turkey, you ever gotten ice cream? So it identifies metadata of what's in Turkey, but it will also identify pictures of. Aha. How does it do that? We'll get there in a couple minutes' time. Have any of you ever used Google image search before? You know, you go and you search images. Essentially what it's doing is it's searching through your pictures and it's figuring out what is in your pictures automatically. But there's one thing we need to do before we can do that. Have any of you ever named people in your photos? You go into iPhoto or Picasa or Google Photo, not Google Photo, and you name who people are. So we can name who people are. So when you go into the search box, you'll see a whole bunch of people, and we need to name who they are. Now, I've already gone ahead and I've named these people here, but I can scroll down, and I can find someone I haven't named. Let's find this person. This is my sister. And I can tap on her, and there's a big, ugly button that says, who's this? Sometimes my sister wears a bit too much makeup, so that's why. She's gonna kill me for that one. Sometimes my sister wears a bit too much makeup, and that's why it doesn't identify her, but I can say, who's this? And her name is Julie. And I can type in Julie. I think that's all Julie. And it will identify, are they the same person? Yes. And I've got that in right there. So I want to make sure before we go to the next step, do we all understand on our phones, we install Google Photos, we tell it to back up everything in high quality. On our computers, we install it, we tell it where our pictures are, and we tell it to back it up in high quality. Does that make sense there? Okay.
And then we delete all the original ones, do we?
So, on your computer, there's no reason to delete anything. On your phone is where, oh, someone's calling me. Decline. On your computer, you delete all the originals. On your phone, I don't ever delete on my phone because I have a 256 gig iPhone, so nobody minds. But just to give you an idea there, that's what you can do. But here's where I want to show you where things get really, really interesting. So I can go ahead and I can look, if I want to find a picture of Richard and Julie, I can type in Richard and Julie. And it's going to look through my 500,000 pictures and find me pictures of just Richard and Julie inside of them. And you see here's Richard and Julie. The latest one I have with my sister is, when is that? That was November 13th. That was the day I got off the ship. Got Richard and Julie right there. But here's where it gets cool. Not only can I look up Richard and Julie, I can look up Richard and Julie in New York City by typing Richard and Julie NYC. Now here's the question. How does it know where the picture was taken? Metadata, yes. And if you have an iPhone, your iPhone likely has GPS on it. Now, if you have an iPad, your iPad likely doesn't have GPS on it. But here's the cool thing. You remember those cars that Google drove around the streets, took pictures of everyone's house? They actually captured the Wi-Fi data that was being broadcast from people's houses. And they've made a network called the Skyhook database, and they can determine where you are even if you don't have GPS on it. A lot of newer cameras have GPS on them as well. So if you have a newer camera that has GPS on it, it'll do it as well. Or here's the cool thing. This is where Google Photos gets very, very, very interesting. Let's imagine for a minute that you have your iPhone that has GPS on it, right? And I take a picture with a normal camera, but we both have the same thing in the background. It can actually use the information from your picture to put a location on my picture. I will never see your picture. You're making it smarter. And some of you are going, well, I never signed up for this. Have you ever used Google Maps before?
Yes.
I'm sure every single one of you in this room has used Google Maps before. And you know, Google Maps tells you, okay, it's going to take you 45 minutes to get to this location. How does it know it's going to take you 45 minutes to get to the location? Because it's tracking the people heading in that same location in front of you. It's learning. The whole idea of Google Photos is, yes, They're letting you store all your photos for free, but what you're essentially doing is you're making their artificial intelligence database significantly more powerful. Does that make sense to you? You're really making their AI database more powerful. But not only can I look for Richard and Julie in New York City, I can look for Richard and Julie in New York City in the snow. And boom. All I ever told it is who Richard and Julie were. This is using advanced, really crazy advanced math and advanced science to figure out what snow is. Now I can even go in and I can do my other sister, which is Richard and Leslie. I have to type Leslie. Well, I'd actually got it anyway. So I can go Richard and Leslie and I can say children. And I want Richard and Leslie as children on a ship. And August 5th, 1997, I'm still so cute. God. Do you have a granddaughter for me? She does! Oh, God. But here's the cool thing. I want you to understand, it eliminated down. So if I got rid of the word children, I can get Richard and Leslie on a ship, which would be a different variable completely. So I've got Richard and Leslie on a ship, and this is Richard, Leslie, Mama, and Julie on a ship. So when I put in that children variable, I get all of those different things. But I had forgotten something that I showed a bit earlier in the course, but I want to show this again because this is really cool. Because some of you still have these antiques laying around your house. They're called photo albums. Here's a photo. Let me pick a picture I haven't scanned yet. I've got an antique right here. Okay, here is, which one we got? Richard and Leslie. Here's Richard and Leslie. When we're kids. And here's a question that I have for you. Okay, we've got Richard and Leslie when we're kids. How are we going to get these digitally into Google Photos? We're going to scan them one by one. Here's the cool thing. Google Photos made their own app called PhotoScan. You need to do this on a phone. Don't do this on a tablet because phones have far better pictures than tablets, far better images than tablets do. But if I do this on a phone, I can actually scan in this picture. I'm going to show you how this works. And the cool thing is you can add metadata. So it'll learn who people are and everything like that. So if you have a physical picture, it's called PhotoScan. And I'm going to show you how it works on the not sticky part of the floor. I told you to go up on the screen. Let me try this one more time. Never trust technology. Especially when you build it yourself. Okay, so here we go. So we should have a picture, and what I do is I take this picture. It doesn't want to play with me. Let me try it one more time. It doesn't like when I turn the phone sideways in this app. Sometimes apps don't like to go off the screen, but I did this last cruise and it was fine. Let's try this one more time. Okay. Yeah? You're okay going sideways now. Okay. So you see that picture right there? Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a picture, and then I'm going to move it to these four corners. 1, 2. Now you see that there's definitely glare in that picture? This application that's made by Google Photos is automatically going to put that together and remove. It got weird because I did it weird. Let me adjust the corners. There we go. Because I took it a little sideways. It's going to automatically scan in that picture, removing the glare. Now if I were to take that same picture with just by taking a picture, it's going to come out and I'm going to have the glare and stuff like that. Picture and automatically put it in your Google Photos library. And it will automatically detect over time that this is Richard and Leslie. I'll just show you, because we did it last week. If I just type in Richard and Leslie, get rid of ship. See the first photo? That's Richard and Leslie, yeah.
Will Google Photos allow you to enhance the pictures?
Google Photos will allow you to enhance the pictures, allow you to edit the pictures. PhotoScan, actually, if you have an older picture, it will go ahead and it will make that picture. You have a ripped picture and things like that. It will go ahead and it will update it and things like that. But what if I told you that Google Photos could also read? If I were to type in the word donut, it will actually read the word donut. And I've got a donut.
Richard,
Yep.
going back to the scan.
Huh?
Did you type in Richard and?
No, it learns
I
it.
didn't know that when it's such.
Because it's an insane piece of software. This is the really interesting thing. You would go like, what are you talking about? You know that Google Photos actually has biologists and evolutionary scientists working for it? Google has people that do age regression over the years and things like that. Google is betting very big on this piece of software. And this is one of the interesting ways, because here's the thing to understand. Google, you know that Samsung uses Android, right? You understand, and that Android's run by Google. Google makes more money from iPhone users than they do from Samsung users. So they want to make sure their products are available everywhere and are the best. And as I said before, this is the only 5-star rated application in the App Store ever. But you see I typed in donut, and I get all these pictures of donuts. But I can type in donut West Palm Beach, and I'll get my favorite donut I've ever eaten. It's a Krispy Kreme bacon cheeseburger donut. Now, you might say, why didn't they just take the donut and cut it in half? And I say, that's not structurally sound to cut the donut in half. You have to use 2 donuts. So you've got a donut on the top and a donut on the bottom. And just for fun, when I'm looking for these pictures, I can even expand out my entire day. And if I wanted to see a picture of me eating that donut, which of course I want to see a picture of me eating that donut, I can go ahead, there we go. There's Fat Richard eating a Krispy Kreme bacon cheeseburger donut. And I ate something else that was really good that day. It was a pork parfait. Barbecue pork, barbecue sauce. Oh, don't give me, oh, you all want to try it. Mashed potatoes. That's not as bad. You're like, okay. But here's the cool thing. Everything I've been doing right here is available from any device I sign into. Windows computer, Mac computer, iPhone, iPad, Android, a friend's computer. It's on a lot of smart TVs. It's on all these other things. And you asked about editing your photos, but what if I told you that Google Photos will also edit your photos on its own? So this is a picture in Rome. This is a picture my old assistant Elza took. This is a picture she took in Rome. She took a whole bunch of pictures. She did not take a panorama. Google Photos made a panorama for her and automatically colorized part of the panorama.
Can you print it just the way it is?
Of course you can. If you wanted to print it exactly where it is, I'll show you, because this is a question I get afterwards. I go, okay, if I want to print it, in the upper right-hand corner, you have these 3 little dots, and there's a button that says download. You hit download, you download it, you put it on a flash drive, you take it to Costco. There we go. I open it. Take it to that, and that's not in Google Photos anymore. That's actually local. So if you want to talk about the quality of it, if you looked at it on my screen, you'd see the quality a lot better. This is still a huge picture. This is still going to print out perfectly fine. This is actually the one that I printed out in Costco just to see that the quality was still there. But what's really cool is Google Photos will even go ahead and edit your pictures for you. So it'll go ahead and edit your pictures for you. Now these are some pictures that it's gone ahead and has edited for me to give you an idea. I'm going to open them up. Now, if you take a burst of pictures, it'll automatically animate it. So we can go in. This is a picture in St. Bart's. This was just taken as a normal picture, and it automatically aged it and put a frame on it and did all these different things to the picture. As well as, I'll show you a picture in one of my favorite places in the whole wide world, which is Estonia. I took this normal picture of the ship. It automatically put it in a frame. It went and faded it, and it did the corners and everything like that. But to take it that next level, Google Photos will also edit automatically for you videos. This is something pretty mind-blowing, what I'm going to show you in a second. I took a whole bunch of video on my Samsung phone, and then I took a picture of a light bulb. Stop, 2 seconds. I hit the wrong button. I took a picture of a light bulb in the iLounge that was out. Now, the audio, the transitions, all of the special lighting and everything was all added automatically by Google Photos without me doing anything. Now, what's cool is it works across multiple devices, and you will see in a couple seconds a light bulb that was out in the iLounge. This is the production show on the Reflection. And in a few seconds, there we go. But it's really quite cool. It's gone ahead, and just to show you, Google Photos is smart enough to identify what's in the video. So you see it knows that that's a funner video, so it's gone ahead and it's put in. It did this all automatically. I just took a whole bunch of video clips, it automatically edited it and put it together. If you've ever gone swimming with dolphins, they take burst pictures. Here's me with the dolphin, and the dolphin going, yay, dolphin. And I can go in and I can see all the movements and there's me kissing the dolphin. I can go in. I didn't do anything. Google Photos did this for me completely and fully automatically, which is what's very, very cool. Now, here's the thing to understand. The main purpose of the iCloud photo backup is just to back up your pictures. The backing up your pictures is the first purpose of this, but you see it goes significantly further. All of the metadata is still there, and you can combine any sorts of metadata you want. So I can put Richard, Estonia, drinking. And it's going to find Richard in Estonia drinking, which there's obviously a picture of. There's Richard in Estonia drinking, to give you a little idea. So we get all of this information right across all of the devices, and you can get that from anywhere. It is free, unlimited backup. And here's the most important thing. One of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow is what's called a switching cost. Are any of you familiar with the idea of a switching cost? Do any of you still use your home internet provider's email? Be it Cox, Shaw, TELUS, anyone like that. Do you know what Comcast loves more than anything else is you using a Comcast email address? Because it makes it so much harder for you to switch. Google Photos works across all devices. Let's say for some reason you decide you don't want to use an iPhone anymore. I don't know who would make that decision, but let's say for some reason you decide you don't want to use an iPhone anymore and you want to have all of your pictures on your Android phone, then guess what? What good is your iCloud library? Nothing. Here's the coolest thing. Google Photos works across every device conceivable to man. It works on iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, Mac. It works across everything, unlimited for free. There is no reason not to use it. Now, if you are happy with the way iCloud currently works, you can add Google Photos as well. It's not going to cost you anything extra or anything like that. But I'm going to tell you, me personally, I've always gotten frustrated with iCloud and doing the backups and all of these different things like that. And this solves my biggest problems with photos and video while getting rid of my switching costs, if that makes sense, because I can go to anything. Yeah?
Question, does Google Photos allow you to make a photo book?
Google Photos allows you to download the pictures, and then you can make, Google Photos is designed as a digital-only spectrum. If you want to make a photo book, you can download the pictures and make a photo book with Shutterfly or make a photo book with other ones. Google Photos is not tied to physical products. It's also very difficult to make a photo book now in the new Apple Photos application as well, because nowadays we do things digitally. Yes, you can still do it in the Apple Photos application. I don't know how much longer that's going to exist because that business is dying. But here's the cool thing. They are making photo frames now, like you know those digital photo frames that tie into Google Photos. And you can give it a Google Photo. I just ordered one. I'm getting it in 2 or 3 days. And it'll show you automatically, I don't know how smart that is, because I take some weird pictures. It'll show you automatically in Google Photos all of your photos across all of your devices, to give you an idea. So Google Photos is just getting started. I will tell you, before most of you came on this cruise, none of you had ever heard of Google Photos, correct? So, and does anybody know of any other Google Photos class anywhere in the world? So, I mean, that's the cool thing. My goal today was to expose you to the fact that Google Photos exists. Now, I will tell you, I do have a more in-depth look just at Google Photos online on our website. I'm going to give it to you real quick so you can write it down. It's very easy. It's iLearnReview.com. Actually, I'm going to use my new logo because I made a new logo the other day. Where's my new logo? Here's my new logo. I like my new logo. iLearnReview.com has 45 classes from the last few cruises on it. And what you're going to see on there, we'll talk about it more in depth tomorrow, what you're going to see on there is, yes, these classes will be done this cruise, but I shoot new content before every single class we have in the iLounge. Last night, we talked about, you know how an app, you open an app and it says, do you want to allow this app to access your location? Why apps need to do that and what they're doing with it, we talked about. The night before, I think we talked about the Samsung Galaxy S8. So it's really cool. So we have all of these classes as well as additional things online. It is completely free. It doesn't cost a penny. It's all just on YouTube. It's completely free. It doesn't cost a penny. It's an iLearnReview.com. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock in here, we are going to be talking about Gmail. Now, hopefully, I think you've all gotten to the point that Google is not as evil as you thought it was, and, you know, maybe you still think it's evil. But Google's not as evil as I thought it was, and we're going to talk about Gmail, and we're going to talk about why you should switch over to Gmail, because here's the thing. getting over to Gmail, number one, is a good idea, and number two, reduces your switching costs. But I'm also going to explain to you why AOL, Yahoo, and Hotmail have or are going out of business. So I want to explain to you exactly why that's going to go on. I'm going to give you a little look at the future. So tomorrow's class at 1 o'clock in here is called Gmail and More. This has been What's the Cloud? Featuring Google Photos.